All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll wait for a couple people to come in, but I'm going to explain something to you folks out there. And I know there's a lot of people out there asking questions. If Richard Allen was it was a witness, how did this end up to him? And we're also going to explain why these YouTubers were questioned. A lot of these people can't figure it out. We pointed it out to them. And that will be a shocker itself, folks, right? That will be a shocker itself. So, why? All right, let's start off with this. Okay. Richard Allen was cleared, interviewed, file put away. Now they're saying the file was found, it was stamped cleared. So he was cleared. He was actually cleared, and they forgot about it. And then Carter said that, like, what, 4 years, 3 years into the case? 4 years into the case, you didn't think we would change our tactics, correct? All right. So now we establish that Richard Allen was cleared, but was brought in and charged with this. So now we have to go back and look. Well, if Click was lying, he was involved in this, he was one of the main investigators, and they fired him, picked him up, found him to be corrupt. Everything he said was a lie. Richard was a witness, called in to be a witness, ended up turning out to be him. Yada yada yada. They have the proof. Yada yada yada. Okay, so that means, what does that tell me? Every single suspect is still a suspect. That's what it tells me. For all you YouTubers out there, and we know exactly who you are, we know this. That that we got numerous videos of you people saying, "Oh, they were cleared. They were cleared. I was questioned. I was cleared." Nobody was cleared, and the reason you people probably were questioned, and it all clicked to some of us real pros. These boys were on a list already for what? Sexual assault and other things. I mean, we won't get too deep into it, but now it makes sense. Sure, they were diverting us away from all that. Everybody was saying something fishy about the YouTube Delphi case. These people, they're ratting on themselves. They ain't acting right. They're, and I was like, look, it's got, that's the only explanation, right? If these guys weren't there and they had nothing to do with this crime, but yet they were questioned. Do any of you folks, are you smart enough? I am dumb. I've had 6 scientists and doctors say you have a disability, a concussion. It comes and goes. You're going to have it the rest of your life. But if these folks have not figured out what we're dealing with here by now, this is either demonic, like the real pros are saying, or so corrupt. The reason they were questioned was because they were already on a list for maybe crimes like this, or have been charged with crimes like that. And that's why they were questioned right off the bat, because in a double murder of 2 young girls, I do remember the sheriff saying we started first with everybody that was on our list in that area and surrounding areas that were already pedos or rapists and stuff like that. And that makes sense, because that's how an investigation works. When they don't have anything like that, what do? They go directly to the people in that area or around there that had either arrests that were similar to what we are seeing, or a pedo history, whatever it may be. Does that make any sense to you folks? So now where are we at now? Well, this is where we're at. If Richard Allen was cleared in the beginning of this, all these people were saying, "Oh, I was cleared. They were cleared." All these people cleared. I got Doug Carter on tape. I don't know how many times. I think he still said the other day when he did it, or that last one he did. Right. This case, it ain't over. It ain't over. And I think probably it makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you folks, but it makes perfect sense to me why these people, and I think that's why Greeno is so upset. Do I think Greeno was there? I don't know. Did he go back to the scene of the crime? He said he did. He placed himself there. His phone pinged in the woods, he said. But he wasn't in the woods. He was on the road. Yada, 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 yada. You know, why would he do that? I don't know why he would place himself there just to get clicks, views, or whatever. But then I started using my head with most of these guys that we're dealing with in this Delphi case, where they all were buddies at one time, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Anthony Greeno and the rest of them uh, YouTubers that have been seen numerous times on his video and him on their panel and all that. Are they worried? Right? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Anthony Greeno had nothing to do with this case. And the reason he was questioned was because he was already on a list for violent against women and crimes. And they automatically do that. Right? That's protocol. First family, and then any sex pedos around. Right? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just saying. That's all I can say. Now I know it don't make a lot of sense to you folks and all that, but it makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. And the bottom line is they don't want to go ahead and admit, yo, Debbie. But if they weren't there and they had nothing to do with this case, but they're saying that they were questioned, then the reason they were questioned was because they were already on a list for something that matched similar to the Delphi case. And that explains why we have these YouTubers that are and will be continued after Delphi to be watched the rest of their lives, ladies and gentlemen. Do you folks understand? I hope so. I really do. Right? I really do. Now, a lot of these people are saying they shouldn't be able to be on YouTube, and I don't know what YouTube laws are. I can tell you what, right now, I see a lot of people on YouTube that are very fishy, right? That scream pedo. But I don't know. How are they on there? I don't know. Right? How do they? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just using my mind. That's all. Right? Because I got 5 or 6 YouTubers that were saying they were questioned in the Delphi case. Now, either they had something to do with it, or they didn't have anything to do with it. They weren't there. But the reason they were questioned was because it's possible they were pedos already and sexual assault or whatever in that area, right? That lived within that area. So I think it all made sense. I think we pretty much wrapped this one up out there. What do you think, Gino? I think we did, Gino. Right? I think we wrapped this one up pretty good. And like I said, even after Richard Allen, if he is found guilty and locked up, I do believe this Delphi case is not going anywhere. It will continue to go on because a couple of these guys, all it took was a couple of guys. And if I told you the truth, you'd flip out. But it opened a can of worms, folks. Do you understand? All it takes is one man and a phone or a device or a big effing mouth that you can hear all the way up north here from down south. And that's all it took. And I do believe the police, federal government, Homeland, and the rest of these couch potato investigators are doing a great job and on the right track. And we know something demonic was going on down there. We ain't dumb. That's why they were being thrown off. Boy, when them cops looked like their heads were spinning, right? Something demonic's going. Hey, I got hit up here, man. These guys from down there, right? Their tentacles reached out and got me the other day. No, I don't trust nobody anymore, right? And I got a lot of people upset at me, but after that the other day or a couple of years ago, dealing with these delphi dudes or whatever, I knew I was onto something. I knew something they didn't want me to release. So yeah, it makes sense now. And I don't know why that kid put himself in that predicament with Greeno. Either Greeno, I can tell you one thing right now. Greeno did have a part in this case, and he probably talked. And I think we're on the right effing track, baby. And like I said, even after all this is over with, I don't think Delphi is going to be over for many, many years, folks. Many years. Many years. Like I said, all it took was a couple of these guys to open up a can of worms, and the whole crew comes down. And that's what we're witnessing right now. And like I said, some of these guys will be watched the rest of their lives, even though they didn't have anything to do with Delphi. And the reason is because they're past history, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get questioned in a double rape, murder, possibly no rape, or possibly SA. I don't know. They don't have a professional, so we don't know. That's the only way you get questioned. And we hit it on the button again. Like I said, we are a powerhouse within this country, and we're expanding throughout other countries. And we're watching them fall. And that's all I can say. That's about it. Right? I do believe our beloved God Almighty is because God knows everything. God knows exactly what happened that day. All the people that were involved and all the demons that they conjured up. No, they just lit a fire under my butt. Hey, listen, see, I put myself out there for my country, guys, and these children. I was the bait. Now we know you're close to me. Now we can take out the guys that this demon is coming through. And now these guys that, well, they're professionals. I was just the bait. Me getting hit was proof. Now they know. Now it'll happen. Right? I was just the bait because I got too close to the case. They knew that they would come knocking. They did. I'm lucky to be alive. And that was proof that we were on to the right case. We were on the right track. And what do I think of all this? Well, I think what they did was they tried to save some of these guys because of their records, which is their job. But people died. And after that, it's a free-for-all, right? They're all over the world, folks. They are all over the world. They really are. They're all over the world. They're in every single town, even this little one, right? And it's a church town. And we're starting to find them within even the churches. It's just horrible. It is the devil. Anyone that says they don't believe in the devil is an idiot. It's the devil. And I think he made his last hit on me, and thank God I'm alive. I think this was the last hit. I know they were in my chat earlier saying they think I deserve one more hit. You go ahead and hit me. That's what you're going to do. But after that, now we know now the professionals know where it's coming from, and they can make their strike on these guys. That's the government's job, not mine. That's the United States government's job, not mine. And I imagine there'll be more cop arrests and more police arrests, and possibly taken out in Indiana. And I know it sucks, but the truth is coming out now. And that is the truth, right? They have proof now that the whole case might have been lied and created to make it look like one guy, when even the police and FBI are saying it's possible that there was more. And I do believe the government, because there ain't nobody that knows Delphi better or Lafayette than the Delphi police and Lafayette or FBI, because they were already dealing with these guys out there. They already had a problem. And I imagine being a cop, I imagine they're pissed, because they know that it's very well possible that there was way more people involved, but they ain't got the proof. And that would piss me off too. That would piss me off, watching these idiots every single day, like we've been doing, knowing we know what, and Carter's right. If you folks knew what they knew, but there it is for you right there in an eggshell or whatever, man. It makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. And it makes sense. There might have been something other than just Richard Allen. Might have been family. Might have been a lot of. Why? Because it was already happening before the murders. They already had a problem with the family because one of the family members was into the meth, and DEA or ratted on somebody. They had the trouble. You had Greeno that was dating one of the girl's mothers. You had Cody. They all, the fam that was in prison already, and they already were involved in stuff. And that's why the police are doing things properly. This is just, Delphi will never be over, folks. And I do believe they are Lord, our Savior, Jesus Christ. I do believe they are using witchery and sorcery on me and evil. In Jesus' name, I'm starting to believe this stuff is real. And I know, I was watching this one YouTuber. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Are we going back to old times where this stuff is real and we now are going to start battling?" And a lot of people are starting to think that. I think that's what happened to me. They did an old switcheroo or something with it. Most of these YouTubers were dying right in front of our faces. All of a sudden, they're spring chickens again now, right? Right? I don't know, man. I'm thinking we're dealing with a witch and a sorcerer, baby. And the other YouTuber yesterday, the guy I was watching, said, "Are we going back to burning witches on poles?" Bet your butt they might be. They just might be. And that's freaky, because if the cops were lying, if the white van was real, when everybody said we had pareidolia, that's what they said. Everybody was nuts. There is no van out there. There was a video showing a van. supposedly from witnesses, it was parked underneath the bridge on the driveway. If the white van is real or the van is real, then the rest of the statements that these people made are real. All the witnesses, all the people that were there, and exactly the way they said is probably real, and there's probably other vehicles they're looking for. Now, like I said, folks, I don't know if anything this is real, is real, what these people say. I know we watched a battle between some of these YouTube channels. And some of these YouTubers said some of these Delphi YouTubers that are reporting the case are actually sex offender pedo people and have no and violent against women and have no right to even cover any child case or anything. So it makes perfect sense to me what's going on. I don't know if it does to any of you folks. Debbie Fox, I want to thank you for showing up. Such a great, nice lady. I think I'm going to have some tea. Yeah, I don't know what they sent the other day, Debbie, but I think now the government has figured it out. And I do believe that the United States government now thinks that this stuff is real. That it's real. Odin's, they probably are real. We know there's an Odin biker club, but we didn't hear about no Odin witches. We didn't know about that. We had no idea about this black robe witch, sorcerer, warlock, Odin stuff. They might think it's real, but I don't know. Do I think they did it? I don't think so. I think this is exactly what the police think. Somebody did something bad, maybe filmed it. That's why Richard's phone is gone. The one he used that night. It's possible he filmed something or took photos or something to remember the girls or something to relive it. And the reason we can't find his phone is either he got rid of it because of that, or that phone led him to the murders, or he filmed it and then gave the person the phone and they took off and sold it, possibly in Vegas. We're another person that plays a key part in this case, Keegan Kline took off to. So it's very interesting, I would say. And you might think differently. You might think I'm crazy. That's fine. But that would explain why these people were questioned, but they were nowhere around. They had alibis. It wasn't because they looked like Bridge Guy, right? Well, I think a couple of the sketches do look like some of these YouTubers, but it wasn't why most of these guys were questioned. It wasn't because they looked like the sketches or they were there that day. They might have just been people that had charges that fit similar stuff, violence, whatever, in that area or surrounding area. And they were questioned. Listen, when I got too close to the case in the beginning of this and I was getting hit by these dudes and they were trying to, I was coughing a lot. I went back and listened and someone pointed that out. They're like, you're coughing a lot. I'm like, these guys were hitting me or they were doing some kind of a demonic thing to try and keep me quiet. I noticed that. I think we're right on to what we're thinking around here up this area. Down there, down south. If we go by the Bible, Richard Allen is possessed by demons. May God save his soul. If we go by doctors and scientists, he's crazier than a squirrel shit being eaten by a raccoon. Go figure. If you're a believer in thy God Almighty, Jesus Christ, he's possessed by demons, or he sold his soul to the devil, or he's into witchery or sorcery or something. But if you're a scientist or a doctor, he's got a disability. He's got a worse disability than me, right? I do believe Richard Allen was crazy. If he's not the Delphi killer, he's still crazy. Or schizophrenia, whatever, because Richard Allen was good, but he was only good for so long, and that was on medication. And then even after, with the drinking, smoking, being on medication, his altered personality would come through. His psychotic mind would come through. Hence, the night at the bar with his wife, when he walked up and clinched the chair real tight and looked at her with a death stare from what the guy said that reported it, and said when they leave, he's going to beat her brains in the parking lot. And he was very upset, right? Saying he was going to beat the living shit out of her when they get outside in the parking lot. So there's proof that he can only hold it together so long. And then his delusional mind would take over, and he would go into his schizophrenia, other altered. See, these people don't realize schizophrenia. It only takes somebody that's had mental illness or brain injury or something like that to experience what Richard Allen is trying to tell these people. He did it, but he didn't do it. Right? He killed the girls, but not the way he said. See, Richard Allen is trying to tell you, folks, he's battling within his head himself and his schizophrenia, pedo, sicko, sex-addicted mind. Right? He's battling. God and Jesus are battling the devil in his head. Oh, he's in a bad place. I'm not going to lie. He's in a very bad, dark, evil place. I'm going to be honest with you. If you believe in the Bible, he is the one trespassing. He is the father of lies. He is Satan, or one of his children, right? He's told so many lies. He's killed him. He didn't kill him. He killed him. He didn't kill him. He killed him. He didn't kill. Here's another thing. We haven't even touched base on running his DNA and all his stuff through the systems to see if any other cases have matched. They might not have him on Delphi. They might have him on something else. He might walk out of Delphi. He might not. He might be. We might be looking at another O.J. Simpson case here, where he's found not guilty, but the family sues him for wrongful death. And he's found guilty. Heck, I wonder if they can do that with Keegan Kline. I mean, he was the one they can prove who were talking to the girls in supposedly some kind of a meeting or something. He wasn't there, but he played a part in it. He was the one that put the motions in motion for this to happen. So therefore, he's not guilty of the murders, but if it was not for Keegan Kline's actions, we wouldn't be here today. He'd be found guilty and sued and whatever. But I don't know if they got that kind of law here in Indiana. Right? That's just what they did to OJ and a couple other guys. They could not get him on murder. He walked, but the family sued. They got him on wrongful death, and he lost everything. And I think he went to jail for a while. And the family was happy with that. The Brown family was happy with that. They were happy with that because that proved that OJ was guilty. It was, that's basically what that said. It was because of OJ's actions or whatever that caused this or whatever. You know? So very interesting. Oh. And that's the only other thing I can think of why these guys were questioned in the Delphi case. You had Michael Catt say he was questioned. Right? Michael Catt said he was questioned. Greeno was questioned. I think they said there was a couple other guys that were questioned. And they were YouTubers, social media guys. And I think, I'm not sure, was one woman questioned in that? Wasn't there one of the women that hung around with the Lafayette gang or something? I forget her little name. She was a lady of the night, but she claimed to have slept with the guys or one of the judges or something like that. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she gave everyone up. Who knows? There's a lot to look at in this case. And that goes back to Rick Snay. You can send I don't know what these people are doing, some kind of a demonic thing or something. I don't know. I have no idea. By golly. But yeah, there you go, folks, on the Delphi thing. If you're trying to put the pieces together, folks, and some of these people seem fishy, or they were questioned but proven not to be there or anything like that, not because of the sketches, not because anybody put them there. They were questioned, and it makes sense what other people are saying because they already were on a list in that area or surrounding areas that matched possibly an essay or murders or something. Hopefully that makes sense to you, ladies and gentlemen out there. And will Delphi ever be over? Probably not, man. They've been trying to kill me for a while. Like I said, all it took was one dude, a little bit of pressure and time, and then he cracks. And then you start working with him, negotiating, right? We're going to take the death penalty off of the table. You're going to survive. We're going to protect you in prison. But if you know something, right, or we want to know exactly how this happened, step by step, and we might be able to work with you and take the death penalty off the table, and you'll be living the rest of your life in prison unless, Mr. Richard Allen, unless you got some big names. Then I might be able to work with you. And you might do 10 years. See, it depends on how much you know. And if I was you, Mr. Allen, and you did commit these crimes, I would play ball. Don't be an idiot. If there was more involved, if they weren't even at Delphi, but they were sick and twisted like you with your sex addictions and your pedo stuff, give them up. And we might be able to play some ball, sir. A little bit of time and pressure, they'll play ball. Right? And I think most of these guys already in this Lafayette, Delphi crew, whatever, that's what they did. Kurtz ain't dumb, right? If Kurtz had anything to do with this, that boy ran his mouth as soon as they picked him up and mentioned Delphi, the girl's dead. Boom. Man, when you're looking at the death penalty or life in prison and never seeing another woman again and getting butt raped and put out on the street within prison, Jack, there ain't no way there ain't enough amount of money. You can come at me with 60 trillion. 60 trillion just to do that. No way. No way, Jack. You get caught and you end up in prison. What do you think Puff Daddy's flipping out for? That son of a bitch opened, $100 million in all of his estates and even his mama's? You know why? Because Puff Daddy knows it's going to be ugly in there for a long time. There ain't no amount of money you can talk me into doing something like that. You know why? Because I got kids and morals. Bunch of sick of these people do anything for $1. There ain't no way. And that's why these people do what they do in this pedo stuff. Why? Money. There's big money in it. Jack, you couldn't get me anywhere near none of these dudes doing something like that. Good God almighty. But I can tell you guys this much. That's what brought down a lot of these guys, and these YouTubers are being watched right now because all it took was one of them. Little time pressure, and you're going to be spending the rest of your life with Bubba in prison. Yeah. I probably would have did what these guys did, and they talked. And now we look for the masterminds of this whole thing. Right? Delphi will never be over. I wouldn't doubt it if this case would go on another 10 years. Just talking about the suspects that they've named, the suspect, why were they questioned? Like, oh, I see. Now we got to watch this guy. Oh, I see. You know. The whole routine. And these must not be dudes that made a mistake on a Friday night at the bar and slept with some 16-year-old that got in with a fake license. These guys must be dudes that have big records of either SA or pedo stuff or something over and over and over again for them to be on the list for the police to go and knock on their doors. And now we know Indiana is going to open their checkbook. I know they're going to pay me, but they're going to pay a lot of people. You know why? Because they have been making fake reports fake warrants. They've been having people call in saying people were pedos, were all this and that, gang members, mafiosos, all kinds of stuff. And it was all lies. It was all lies. Do you understand what kind of damage when you have a corrupt police force? Any Tom, Dick, or Harry can walk up and say, oh, he's a pedo, or he did this, he did that. And they're not going to investigate it at all. They're gonna think they got their guy if they're corrupt, whatever, and it'll be just like Delphi. But I'm not saying Richard ain't guilty. I'm not saying he's not guilty. It points to Richard. But if you knew what I knew, it's too easy to set someone up, right? For all we know, Richard's wife wasn't faithful in doing something, and this whole thing was set up. See, you people, you got tunnel vision, and you need to open your minds when it comes. Just because these YouTubers and the police tell you guys that, oh no, nothing's, oh no, they're fine, everything is bullshit. We proved it now, and I'm sure the FBI is going to come out now and prove even more, being that the police department of the police kicked off the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. I'm sure after this is all over, we're going to get a whole new perspective of what really happened and what really. And some of these guys might have been Odinists. That don't mean as a group the Odins did it. It don't mean that. These guys might have been Odins, but what they did were they were doing stuff not within the lodge, on their own. They might have been wrapped up into pedo stuff. We got enough stuff on these guys talking about doing it with young girls and stuff like that. And they tried to make it look like it was some kind of Odinist thing. Yeah, I would believe it. But as a group, I can't see no woman in the woods that has a child of her own doing something like this to these two little girls and kidnapping the other one. And that's probably the one that Chadwell ended up with in his basement. I can't see no woman, no real woman that bore child doing something like this to young girls. But it ain't 1970 or 80 anymore, or 90. It's 2024, and our country has allowed so many religions and so much stuff. They might be telling the truth, but I can't see no woman. It would have to be a very evil woman, and we might be looking at that. We just might be looking at that. Now, if the white van is real, then it's possible that what we heard on the recording in the beginning of this case, that there was a woman's voice on that recording, might be true, other than Abby and Libby's. And it must be true that there was numerous voices on the recording other than Abby and Libby's. Now, I want you folks to have a great night. Let me see what my mod is saying. I know now. Right there. Here will be a Just Watch Tomorrow, 7 years, and the end soon. Yes, yeah, 7 years ago, our forefathers. And yeah, who knows? There might be something into that, right? There might be something into the way the girls were positioned or something. We don't know what went through these people's sick and twisted mind. We have no idea the way these people think. When they're on medication, they might be perfectly fine. When they're not on their medication, they're crazy. More crazier than me, right? I'm talking these guys are sickos. But it also makes sense that Richard Allen is ex-military. I don't know if he's seen any battle time. We would have to check his history. We would have to check the VA hospital. I don't know if he went to the Fort Wayne VA hospital or Indianapolis, but we would have to check his VA records to see if he's done any uh, battlefield time, right? What did he see while he was in the military? That all plays a part in it. It don't make it okay. It don't make it okay. I'm not trying to say, well, he's one of our guys, so it's okay. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it might lead up to the part where if he had a taste of killing and power over people, it might have never stopped. It might have followed right out of the military into the streets of America. And ladies and gentlemen, I know you don't want to hear it. I know you don't want to hear about these bikers. You folks love them. Hey, I know bikers too. But the bikers I know ain't into this shit. And that ain't part of their initiation, right? They got kids themselves. I don't know what group they were being initiated into down there that ride motorcycles or whatever. But most of the people I knew, right, that was crossing the line. Doing something like Delphi, that's way out of line. So I don't know what these guys are doing down there, who they were doing it for or whatever, but something ain't adding up in that case. And hell, they tried to kill me, I don't know how many times. So I'm still here, I'm kicking. But I think everything's starting to make sense. And we have been getting hit with all kinds of crap up here. You know, there's a lot of rumors that Don Wells' family's up here, and I wouldn't doubt it. The record showed it. Right? He even said, I think he had family up there. They might all boot scoop boogie died, right? I think Benny Keys always talked. He had family up north here, out here by me. I don't know. They might be putting hits out on us from behind bars. Who knows? I mean, we don't know. Is it possible? Oh, heck yeah, it is. Oh, heck yeah. We got a serious problem in America, folks. I don't think people are real. The only one that knows is God. Jesus, we got a serious problem. I wish America would go back to when I was a kid, Jesus. Saturday morning cartoons and running around all day in my PJs or undies. Right? White Fruit of the Looms or whatever, playing with trucks, race cars and stuff like that. And going to church on Sunday once in a while. I wish we go back to them days. But it's 2024, so. But I got someone trespassing on me, and I think Mr. Trump's right. The people inside me are very evil. I don't know what these people, they're trying to control us, Mr. Trump. They're trying to control us. I'm dealing with it too. They're trying to control me in this Delphi case and up here where I live. But God will handle it. In Jesus' name, he will figure this out. All glory goes to God. Amen. And I think we are making great progress on the Delphi case. people are shocked. They're like, we can't believe it. Wait a minute, he was cleared. Well, we always said on this channel from day one, no one has been cleared in the Delphi case. It's still an ongoing case. I wish I was young. I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Trump. I wish I was young. And I wish I would have been able to help everyone. You know, when you grew up, you either wanted to be a bad guy or a good guy or 50-50. Right? Did I want the power of a police officer? Sure I did when I was growing up. Who didn't want to be a cop, right? You do what he said or you're on your way to prison. It's the way we grew up. Right? But then a part of me is like, well, I don't want to be a cop because I noticed that they lock up the wrong people. Right? Sometimes they lock up the wrong people or they harass the wrong people. I don't know, catch-22. You want to help them, but I don't have the body to. Right? When I was younger, in my younger days, I would have been able to go to toe with a 6-foot dude, but that's my problem. That's why I'm in the predicament I'm in now, is because I've fought 6-foot dudes before and got stomped on. I'm not gonna lie, right? I did break a knee once, but right, that was it. You want to do something. If you're coming up against a tall dude, you go straight for that knee, fold it straight back, kick front thrust kick right into that knee, fold it back right underneath the knee or above the knee, and it'll fold backwards and break. And then you start working on the body or try and take out the other leg. You want to get him down on the ground as fast as you can. He's got reach. Take out the legs, get him on the ground, and start working the body and tie him up into a pretzel. That always does not work. I'm just letting you know that. That does not always work. You might get lucky, and it might, if you're fast enough, it might work. But it don't always work. You got to know how to throw a kick, and you got to turn your brain on to kill. You're not going to make it out of this fight alive. And that's how you go into a battle on the street. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just telling you from somebody that's got brain damage. I've been punched many times in the head. It don't feel good. I can tell you that much. But enough of me, because I ain't a tough guy. Never was a tough guy. But I would be able to hold my own. I wasn't tough. I was crazy. Meaning I'd stick my finger in your eyeball and try and pull it out. Or headbutt your nose and bust it. That kind of crazy, right? Jam my front thrust palm up into your nose. Or just bite you, right? Anything to win the fight. But I'm not like that anymore. Why? Because women didn't like it. Women didn't like it. They did, but then they didn't, right? You're always bullying people, or you're always in a fight. You're always... So I grew out of that. Plus, I'm older now. And I don't have a six-pack anymore and a baseball on my bicep, right? I don't even have lats anymore. So I'm no tough guy. Not at all. Not at all. And you folks need to realize that. You go into a fight on the street, there's a difference between tough and crazy. Get that through your heads right now. You might think you're just going to start fighting and punch each other, and you might hit him once and you go, oh, it's over. I wouldn't think like that, because some of these guys today, one hit to the Adam apple and you're down. He'll crush your Adam apple and you'll die. If someone don't do a tracheotomy on you, you'll die. You'll suffocate. So be safe out there, folks. If you can turn the other cheek and walk away, turn the other cheek and walk away. But if you got no choice, and these people ain't leaving you no choice, whoever you're going against, I'm just letting you know, you might have to kill somebody, or just let them kill you and hope, if you believe in God, uh, you'll come right back to life or whatever, be reincarnated or whatever they call it, or go to heaven or whatever. The world's nuts. It ain't like when we were growing up, where you boxed, you got in a fist fight with somebody, and whoever said give, or whoever was knocked out, it was over with. Not today. They knock you out and they beat you until your skull's caved in. So it's a young man's game. I'm too old for this game. Thus far, that's why we have security and stuff like that, right? Police and stuff like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough of the Delphi case. I will be back with more. Kneecaps. Yeah, Debbie's saying, yeah. Debbie, I'm not a tough guy. I've been in a lot of fights in my life, and I've lost a lot of fights. Probably because they were more crazier than me. But I'm not tough at all. Right? Not anymore. I just can't do it. Back shot, everything shot. Construction will do that to you too. And fighting will do that to you. Now, you ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Be safe. Maybe that's why these people are turning towards the black arts and witchery and sorcery, is because they can't fight and they're actually killing people with this witchery and sorcery. Now, we know some of these YouTubers had cancer, but all of a sudden, miraculously, they're cured. Now, I know a lot of people are calling the one guy in the Delphi case some kind of a wizard or something with a stick or a pole or whatever. Who knows? Right? I know a lot of people are saying a couple of these people are witches or whatever. They might be. I don't have all the answers. God does. I know one thing. I do not know of any witchery or sorcery. I couldn't tell you how to do it. I don't want to do it. And the reason I don't want to do it is because of Mr. Dave Mustaine, who came out and he talked about that. I watched his video on this stuff. Right? I don't want it. I don't want to use it. Although Mr. Mustaine, I did love the part where you said they were the most beautiful woman in the room. And old Dave Mustaine would walk away with her at night. And he said it was some kind of a spell. Right? I mean, it sounds great. I know it probably works, Mr. Mustaine, but I don't want to try it, sir. Thank you. I think it's good that you turn towards God and you're done with all that. In Jesus' name, amen. But that's when I knew this stuff is real. And don't sell your soul to the devil. And he might steal your soul, but don't ever give it to him willingly. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now, I might be back later with a fire tonight. Maybe a peaceful fire. No. I'd love to go StreamYard. Right? I would love to go StreamYard to have some people up. It's good to look at a face, to hear a voice. Right? Human companionship or whatever. Richard Allen in prison is in a very dark place, folks. In Richard Allen's mind, I can tell you right now, he's been trespassing on me. He's one crazy little sucker. When they have tape on him, he's going to kill everybody, all of us. He's been in our chats. A lot of these people have been saying, you're crazy. He has been in our, he knew this whole case. Him and his friends knew this whole case. And now we got to go through all these police reports. Mr. Trump, Congress, Senate, Pentagon, I know you don't want to hear this, but Jesus Christ almighty, how many people in prison do we have in prison that were innocent? These people are making up fake reports, warrants, and all kinds of crap, and they're making up fake history, arrest record histories and stuff, and lies. And if the police are doing that, Jesus Christ, how many people we got? Excuse my language, Lord. How many people we got? I know I've been ran through the ringer since the day I was born. How many of these people, how many of these cops, how many of these societies and churches all gathered up and conspiracied against other people? I don't know. But boy, these people still do not believe in conspiracy theories. And I'm like, this country is in bad shape when you don't believe in conspiracies. You folks have a great night. God bless. Jesus, if you're listening, save us all and heal us. I could use a healing after this beat down they gave me. If I don't make it, you know where to start. God bless everyone. Have a good night. We might be back later with some Delphi stuff, maybe with fire, some peaceful, relaxing chimes or something. You folks have a good night.